Welcome back, everyone, to the FloTrack podcast. I'm Kevin. He is Gordon. Happy Friday. Got a packed show for you today. And as always, this podcast is sponsored by Hoka, makers of the brand new Cielo X. Got the MD, the LD. Gordon holding up the white MDs right there. I got the orange LDs in front of me. Wow, we're doing sound
Uh,
this time.
That's Hoka ASMR for you. That is what it sounds like when a Hoka spike is rubbing up against your earlobes.
A lot of people don't watch the pod, they listen to the pod. So I think that's a welcome addition to really bring them into this first part of the show. They're powered by the propulsion of carbon. Or carbon. The website Hoka.com, Hoka. Faster, forward. And yeah, you've seen what they look like. Now you know what they sound like when they are rubbing against a microphone.
Exactly. I'm trying to give you a three-dimensional experience with this ad read. Now you can just kind of feel like you're just, before you know it, you're going to feel like the shoes are on your foot while you're listening to this at work.
That'd be kind of cool. You try them on while listening to an ad.
Yeah.
That'd be terrific. Coming up on Saturday, which is tomorrow, Saturday night in the United States, we got our Tokyo Marathon live show. We're kicking it off at 6 p.m. Central Time. That is 7 p.m. on the East Coast in the United States. That's 9 a.m. in Tokyo, 10 minutes before the race starts. And it'll be a second screen experience with myself and Gordon. And I'm looking forward to it, Gordon. You excited?
Yeah, so we're going to be live on the FloTrack YouTube channel, you and me, reacting and watching the full marathon. And also, we're going to be watching it live on FloTrack. So the live stream will be up on FloTrack.com. Me and Kevin watching it here on YouTube.com. It's going to be fun. Good to see Kipchoge go for his first ever Tokyo win. I guess, yeah, because technically he didn't run on this course at the Olympics when Tokyo hosted. It was in a different location. So this is his first time in Tokyo running 26.2. And we'll see if he can pull it off along with Sarah Hall, American record. It's going to be a great, great race. And I'm excited to watch it live. I'm going to crack open a few beers, enjoy my Saturday night. It's going to be a good time. I'll be doing I'll be doing dual screening. I'll have triple screening. I'll have us watching it on YouTube. I'll have the live broadcast on FloTrack, and then I'll have in the tiny, tiny quarter my Sixers game. So it's going to be all in. Is this going
to be one of those where you go silent for 45 seconds every couple minutes, and I'm going to have to keep talking? These things are long. That's the beauty of them.
The Sixers.
Sometimes you just got to let it breathe. That's what I learned with the London one and the Olympic one. Sometimes you got to let it breathe. Let the people watch it. So it's live in the U.S. and Canada on FloTrack. Is that correct? I got that right?
Yeah, U.S. and Canada viewers can watch it live on FloTrack. The YouTube stream will be everywhere. But if you want to watch the actual race, it'll be for U.S. and Canada viewers on FloTrack.
Yeah, so don't go into the chat and be like, where's the race? We told you where the race was. This is me and Gordon talking about
the race.
Said race. Yeah, Kosgei, Kipchoge, Sarah Hall. It's gonna be a cool event. I'm really excited about doing it. I wrote the preview. This will be his 18th time. He's raced 26.2. So you got 2 time trials in there. You got 2 losses. And the rest are wins. It's pretty remarkable when you look at his career. Lost once in 2013, once in 2020. That's it. Clean sheet. Win. Some time trial wins too. And people, they like to put the asterisk on the time trial and say, well, because it's not an actual race. But he did so well in that. It's not like he beat an individual person. He just beat expectations on the human body in those races. So I count those as wins too.
Yeah, it's a win over his mind. He won over the mind.
Yeah.
With his 2:01 in a
history. He beat history.
Yeah.
So very exciting. Written previews on the site. We got a bunch of video previews, and we're gonna do some picks and stuff today. Gordon, why don't you walk the listeners through what we're gonna do here?
Yeah, so we're introducing a new feature called FloTrack Pick'em, where we're gonna allow you all to kind of really let us know where you stand on certain predictions. And so we're going to create an article. The article isn't 100% live right now. Hopefully it's live by the end of the day today, definitely by tomorrow morning. But we're going to have 3 questions. If you go 3 for 3 on these 3 questions, you'll be in the running to win a $20 gift card to Fanatics. And our goal is to make this prize change over time, get bigger over time as more and more people start incorporating their picks. But we're going to start this with the Tokyo Marathon. We're going to bring it back for NCAA's next week. And we're going to continue basically throughout the entire track season of 2022. And it's all about see if you can have a better prediction than me and Kevin. Go 3 for 3 on your picks.
Mm.
And just put your track knowledge up against ours. And not even up against ours. Maybe you could just agree with us, and then we both win.
Mhm.
We're not always wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like I agree with Gordon and Kevin, so I'm going double down with them. But yeah, we're gonna have 3 questions, 3 picks. You go 3 for 3. You're in the running to win. And we're gonna be doing this throughout the week, every week, just for forever. As more and more people do it, we'll keep doing it.
Forever.
Yeah, forever.
It's a
This
long
is forever.
commitment.
We signed a lifetime contract. No, but
Okay.
so the 3 pick. These are the 3 questions, though. So these are going to be the 3 questions that we are going to ask. Question number 1: will Sarah Hall break the American record? Simple question. Yes or no?
Mhm.
Kevin, do you think Sarah Hall will break the American record? Yes or no?
This one's close. I'm gonna go yes. I'm gonna go yes.
Yes. Okay.
I looked at the weather. I look at the fields. I look at how well she ran in the half. I think she's confident that she can do it. She's tried to do this before. She's run in the 220s before. It's gonna take a special day, but I think she's gonna pull this off. I think she's just gonna dip under. I just like her overall approach to racing right now. She runs so much, has nothing to lose out there, and I think Hall's gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with the yes. I also disagree with the yes because
Mm.
I want her to break it. I think she's capable of breaking the American record. But I think there's just that factor of outside situations with, there's just, it's not about talent. Talent doesn't make you break an American record. She has a talent. She has American record breaking ability. But does she
Mhm.
have the right situation? Does everything go exactly well for the 2 weeks leading up and for those 2.5 hours of race time? And that's just unpredictable. You can't control a gust of wind. You can't control uh, just how you're going to feel at mile 12 and mile 17. Like you just can't control all these situations. You just got to have a little bit of luck. Not that it's purely luck, but you got to have a little bit of it. And it's for me, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna pick a no. I don't think she's gonna break it. I think um, she's capable of breaking it, but if I'm going to have to put my prediction on the line, I'm going with a no. Sarah Hall does not break the American record. But if I'm wrong on that, I'll be happily wrong because I want her to break it. But
Mhm.
if I had to make a pick, I'm
Uh,
going with a no.
I mean, right now the weather we're a couple days out, but the weather looks good. The weather looks like it is going to be fast weather conditions, and we know the course is running quick. There's some fast people like Bridget Kosgei to pull out the pace. There's also people around Sarah Hall a little bit quicker, a little bit slower. I think it's the right mix. I think it's the right mix, and I think she can do it. If D'Amato's mark is solid though. I mean that 219 low is really good. You know, we kind of get distracted by Kosgei's 214 is this is the new standard, but that's an outlier performance off of an already outlier performance of a 215. So this is going to be a tough mark to beat, but I think she can. I think she's going to dip just under. I'm going 219.10. Do I get extra points if I pick the exact time?
No. You
Okay,
can
all
get
right.
you can get
You just
fake
want yes
extra
or no?
points on the side, but a
Okay,
win's a win, a loss is a loss. No matter if you
all
win
right.
by an inch or a mile, a win's a win. It's all right. Again, will Sarah Hall break the American record? You're going with a yes. I'm
Yeah.
going with a no, and that's what
Mhm.
it is. All right.
I'm
Next
also
question.
going with a. I'm also going with a. Am I too going to be too emotionally attached to this pick? Yes, and you can watch
Okay.
that live on Saturday night.
There you go. Now, if you agree with Kevin, click yes. If you agree with me, click no. We're going to hopefully let us know in the comments below. Hopefully, we have that article there. If we don't, just let us know in the comments and we'll go from there. Next question is Ilya Kipchoge's time. You got four options. Is it going to be sub 205, 205 to 206, 206 to 207, or over 207? Now, the course record is 203.58. So the course record's 204, basically. So is he basically going to be within a minute of the course record? Is he going to be 2 minutes away, 3 minutes away, or is it going to be a slow tactical 207 race? What are you going with?
It's not going to be a slow tactical 207 race. If you're ever given, here's some advice. I know this segment is brand new. Here's some advice for the listeners and the players out there. If you're ever given the opportunity to bet on Kipchoge's times, pick the fastest one. That's going to win you a lot of scenarios. Yeah, the last marathon he ran was the Olympics, where he ran 208, but he was so in control. Here's Kipchoge's best marathon times. This does not include the Breaking 2 race. This does not include the 159.40. 201.39, 202.37, 203.05, 203.32, 204.00, 204.05, 204.11, 204.17, 204.30, and 204.42. That's just his top 10. That's just, so his 10th best time is under this mark. He looked good last year in the Olympics. He ran a fast one in the lead up to the Olympics when he ran in the airport in Netherlands to get his legs underneath him. That was a 204.30, and that just seemed like a run through for him. I think he's going to be even sharper for this race because he's going to need to be because the field is so good. So the fastest option, I'm going with that. So sub 205 for Kipchoge.
I'm also going to probably go with sub 205. There's the problem with that's a good point. It's Ilya Kipchoge. What do you think? Pick the fastest time. But
Yeah.
I always, he ran 208 at the Olympics, right? Like sometimes races aren't what we think they're going to be. Sometimes they're just not,
That was the Olympics, though.
destined to be quick times. I know, but
It was
I know
hot.
that's the Olympics. Yeah, it's hot. Okay, but again, factors can happen. I don't know. How fast did he run in London?
The Which one? The London Marathon
The
or
London Marathon in 2020.
that one was slow too. 206 I want to say on that one, right?
Exactly. So,
Yeah, but that you just picked his worst race. His basically his
but
only
it's a
bad
recent
race.
race. It's a recent
It
race. It's a
is.
race within the past 2 years. So it's not like I'm picking
Weather
something when he was 12, 18 years old.
weather and tactics. You're basically betting on weather and tactics in this race. Because if the
Yeah.
weather is good and the tactics are sound, I saw on the start list you can see the list of rabbits they have. They got a group of rabbits. I don't think they're going to bring rabbits out there to run 206 pace. You save your money because Kipchoge is going to be fine doing 206 pace. They have a crew of pacers out there, and I think they're going to get the pace going. Sub 205 that's easy. Lock that
All
one
right.
in. I
I'm
feel
also
much more confident about that than the other pick.
okay. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm also going to go with sub 205. I like just the simple answer. Whenever you're betting on Ilya Kipchoge, you pick the fastest time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it works. That's our society today. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
When Kipchoge runs, you pick the fastest time. So I'm going with sub 205. In the comments below, let us know what you think. Sub 205, 205 to 206, 206 to 207, or over 207. Hopefully, we have an article for you to actually click on. We don't know yet. We're figuring it out as we go. But let us know in the comments below. Final question. I like this one. I came up with this one. How many Japanese athletes, men, will finish in the top 10?
3 is my pick.
3. Okay.
3.
So,
This is a tough. If you're going just based on PRs, the top seeded Japanese athlete on the men's side, Kengo Suzuki, is seeded 9th. However, I expect some of that top group to not have a good day or to fall back. Suzuki, true. Actually, no, he's not seeded 9th. He would be seeded 8th, excuse me, with his 204.56. So I feel good about him. And then you have a huge group of guys who have run 206 or 207. And I think one or two of them are also going to factor in to the top 10. So my pick would be 3 Japanese men in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the non-Japanese field. There's basically 8 Kenyan/Ethiopians in the field, right? And so
Mhm,
you're probably going to at least get 2 in the top 10. But this is Japan's Super Bowl, right? The Tokyo Marathon. It's their one world major that they have. Japanese distance running is unlike anything else. They have been running out of their mind over the past few years. I mean, the number
mhm,
of
mhm,
Japanese athletes who run like elite times, like sub 208, sub 209, sub 210, is incredible. Like
mhm,
comparing it to American distance running, it's like night and day. Like the probably like the 30th best Japanese runner would be like the second best American behind Galen Rupp. It's kind of wild because they just love their distance running out there, and so that's why um, I think we might have more. I'm gonna go a little wild here. I think I think four. I think four Japanese athletes will
mhm. Yeah,
be in the top 10. So I'm going with four.
I think that's a good pick because you figure someone like Suzuki is a lock, and if there are only 8 non-Japanese in those top seeds, there'll be other runners obviously there, but in that group. The reason why I think that group is gonna hold though is, you don't see Kipchoge falling out of the top 10. Legesse and Garamu, there's a lot of very consistent guys in that group, the Kenyan and Ethiopian group. It's not, "Oh, this guy ran a PR 2 years ago and then DNFs or DNSs a whole bunch." There's a lot of people there who are consistent players. Now, some of them do have DNFs on their records, or are just gonna be able they're just gonna have a bad day, or they're just gonna get straight beat because if you're a 206 runner, you can beat a 203 runner. That's not that big of an upset considering how unpredictable the marathon is. So, yeah, I could see someone going 5 here and not being that crazy. I think 4 is actually a good pick, but I'm going to stick with 3.
So you're going with three. I'm going with four. Let us know. Again, if you're listening to this podcast, you got to open up your laptop or open up your phone and go to the YouTube channel to then let us know your pick. Okay, this is the first time we're doing these picks, so it's a little ad hoc right now. We haven't really got it all of our stuff together, but eventually we're gonna get together, especially by NCAA's. But this is year zero of the
Mhm,
that of our pick 'em. You can see on the screen. Put up the screen. This is what it's gonna look like
mhm,
for you to pick. It's very very simple. Click on what you think is going to happen. You lock it in, put your phone number in, and then you'll be able to keep track of whether or not you're right or wrong. And it's gonna be fun. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna have some good pops. We even good props. We'll even invite you all, the community, to kind of give us suggestions of a question of what you want to bet on, right? Because we're not just betting on
mhm.
who's going to win. It could be like, hey, will Devin Pancake ever break four again? In the rest of his college career, we don't know. We're going to find that out. But again, let us know.
Yeah,
You're going with what, three? You're going with three Japanese athletes in the top 10. I'm going with four, and that's our
yeah,
picks.
yeah, and then I'm going sub 205 for Kipchoge, and then yes on the Sarah Hall American record. So next week, are we doing this for like NCAA indoors? Is that the idea?
Yes, NCAA's, and the
Mm.
week after that, we'll do it for Worlds. That's some
Man,
fun.
well, I'm just thinking you're gonna get like really specific with the NCAA indoor picks. It's like, will LSU score 36.5 points? Yes or no?
Yeah, why
Go.
not? Well, you have ones that are like very simple. Will this person win? Yes or no? Right. But
Yeah.
then you have fun ones like how many Japanese athletes are going to finish in the top 10. Like that's not something you ever
Yeah.
really think about. We were
Hmm.
going to do the one question we were going to do is how fast will Kipchoge's last mile be?
Mm,
But I
I like
looked
that one.
at the results. They don't really have that split normally because of the point two on 26.2. So I couldn't
Yeah.
guarantee I would know the exact what the time of the last mile is. Um,
You could do last 2K. That'd be a nice play to our non-US listeners out there. Like, can they play? Can people around the world play? Is this a US thing?
yeah, it's gonna be everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All right. Yeah, there's a bunch of previews on the site too. If you want more Tokyo Marathon coverage, as I mentioned, I wrote in our article as well, going through all the favorites and storylines for this race. Very excited. Kipchoge running is incredibly exciting. So we talked about the Madrid World Indoor Tour. on Wednesday's show when I was in Fayetteville because it was coming up later on that day. And some interesting stuff happened because there were world births on the line. First of all, we always joke about people in track not knowing the rules to track. Did you know that this year's champions got birds and only half got it? Like they're only half the events this year, and then half the events last year got it. Because we know Grant Holloway got it for winning the World Indoor Tour on the 60-meter hurdles, but that wasn't even offered this year. It was offered last year. So if your event was up in 2022, you could get a bid now or a couple weeks from now. But if it was a 2021 event, you had to have done it last year. Did you know all that?
So here's the thing. I did not. I wish I did. I kind of hated myself for not knowing this because I kind of try to keep track of these types of things. But I did some research and it's wild. So 2021 World Indoor Tour champions have a bye to the 2022 championships. The 2022 World Indoor champions this year have a bye to this year's championships. The
Yeah.
2020 World Indoor champions have a bye
Don't
to the 2023 World Indoors
wait.
in
Why'd they
Nanjing,
do
China,
that?
because it's the postponed World Championships.
But
The
why
China
wouldn't they
champion,
have? Oh, they're
because they
pretending like
have
this
to
doesn't
give,
exist.
well, because if you won the World Indoor Tour in 2020, they can't
Yeah.
like take away your bye just because of the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. So basically,
Gotcha.
Ronnie Baker, who is the 60-meter indoor world indoor champion from 2020, has a bye to the 2023 World Championships indoor, which is kind
Wait,
of
slow
wild.
down. Say that again. He won the World Indoor Tour in 2020.
Which gives him a bye
So
to the 2023 World Indoor Championships.
there's no way anybody knows that. There's like a 0% chance that anybody knows that fact that you just said.
Well, I didn't even know that the 2022 people had a bye to 2022.
Yeah,
I was
and
just assumed it was always the year before, but
that's exactly my point. We didn't even know that one, and the thing that you just said makes even less sense intuitively. That 2020 would get a bye all the way to 2023.
3.
Man, well, Eli Hall qualified, so he's in. He's in. All right, he'll join Christian Coleman and Marvin Bracey.
Yeah, and when you look at it, so Eli Hall, he qualifies by winning the 60-meter World Indoor Tour. His winning the final win that he had in Madrid, he ran 6:57. So he needed to run 6:57 to go high enough in the rankings to again be selected as a wild card to Worlds. This was the smartest move ever because he was able to qualify for Worlds running 6:57. Whereas if he
Mm-hmm.
tried to qualify for Worlds at the USA Champs, he would have had to run 6:47 to beat Marvin Bracey for second.
Yeah,
So he was able to run a tenth of a second slower in order for him to get in because it's a
yeah,
good move, right? He recognized it's a lot easier to potentially win the World Indoor Tour against a bunch of people who aren't all in. Like Christian Coleman's not out there going overseas running it. Marvin Bracey isn't doing it. It's like, why try to
yeah.
beat Christian Coleman when you can beat, uh, like I
W-
don't know who, like a Mike Rogers overseas.
Was it planned? Did you know this?
It seems it has to have been. It has to have been planned. He didn't. No, it
Because
had to have been.
here,
Why did? Yeah, it had to have been planned.
well, here's the tricky thing about it is because these bids in conflict with U.S. champs. You could do both because it was a few days later, but that's a tough turnaround in terms of travel to go from the U.S. on Sunday to Madrid on Friday. It's in a way incentivizing people not to run that U.S. champs. You know who else was a big winner? You look at this. Look at Ethiopia, right? They've been tearing it up this year, and they get to add in the women's 15. Ethiopia is 1 through 5 in terms of points after this competition, and then on the so they'll get to send a fourth person, which is cool. Like they
So
deserve
you're
a
sending a
fourth
third
person.
person. You're sending a third person, not a
Third
fourth.
person. Sorry. Well, they should send 4. That's how well they've been doing. And then on the men, but it's worth it because they've been tearing it up. And then on the men's side of things, they're 3K. They're the top 2 spots with Gurma and Barega. So then they'll get another extra person there too. which is interesting. Again, I just didn't know this at all. On the 800 side, Giles won, but he's already going, so that's not a big deal. So I thought I saw it as consequential in the sprints, the hurdles for the U.S. to get another person, and then on the distance side of things with the Ethiopians being able to get a third entry in those two events.
Yeah. It's also like it kind of sucks when like I mean I don't know if it sucks, but like when like Mondo Duplantis wins, like this we don't need to give Mondo to buy. Like give the buy to someone else because he's already gonna be there. You know, it's like
Do you know who's?
they should you should,
Do you know who's?
they should allow the people who win a buy to gift the buy to whoever they want.
Yeah.
They can just be like, congratulations, you get to go to Worlds.
Okay, so now I'm looking at the 2021 winners because they also get it too. So now I'm curious. Did you know that Michael Norman almost won it? He had 10 points and Pavel Mauslak had 15. How funny would that have been? Michael Norman just shows up in Serbia. That would be terrific. Um, the 15, Barega had it. So there's another bonus spot for Ethiopia in the men's 1500. So men's 3, men's 1500, they have it. Um, women's side of things, Javian Oliver has it.
Yeah, in the 60.
So the US, yeah, so the US should get 3 women in that. Alemo in the women's 8, and then women's 3, Ethiopia won it. So Ethiopia gets 3 in all 4 distance races.
Yeah, I think I wonder. Wait, yeah. 3 in all 4 distance races. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's just interesting. It's interesting because I don't think a lot of people were paying attention. Even regular buys, like outdoor, people don't pay attention. Oh, you won the Diamond League last year? Oh, okay. Or this person won the World Championship, but people have a tough time keeping track of that. This is asking people to pay attention to a qualifying process that was split over 2 years for a meet that takes place in 2 weeks. I don't blame people for not
Yeah.
knowing what was going on here.
Yeah, I mean, and when we talk about how it's crazy that the people who have who won in 2020 get to go to 2023,
Yeah, I'm
that's
still
kind of just as
processing.
crazy as the 2019 world champion gets to go in 2022, right?
You talking about for like
For
outdoor?
outdoors. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but we remember those champions a lot more
Yeah.
because they were, you know, especially when you're talking about the people who won the gold, not just the people who you're talking about the people who won the circuit in 2019, correct? You're not talking about winning world. There was no world indoors in 2019 or
No, I'm talking
2020.
about like, yeah. No, I'm talking about, yeah.
The points,
That's what I'm talking about.
it's
Yeah,
hard
the
enough to
points.
the amount of people who
I'm
pay attention
confusing
to the
our
points is
listeners
very
right now.
well. The amount of people, well, how many of them pay attention to the points? Like that's hard to keep track of. What people pay attention to is the reigning champions. They know that. Outdoors, it got a little easier because it was the Diamond League final. So you're basically thinking, okay, who won that one race? It's like, oh, okay, Michael Cherry. If he wins, he's going to get this spot. Quinner Hayes, if they win, they're going to get that spot. You're not combing through and looking at all the points and getting confused. We do have another one coming up this weekend, another World Indoor Tour. This one's one of those sprint and field only events in Paris. So keep your eye on the hurdles. On the men's side, Martin Odegaard and Wilhelm Bolosian will be racing in their home country. Good tune-up for them before they go to Serbia, try to pull the upset on Grant Holloway. I saw Kambunji was entered in the 60. She's someone who could factor into the medal picture as well too. But that's the Paris World Indoor Tour coming up this weekend live on FloTrack. I think it's the second to last World Indoor Tour, if I'm remembering this right. Is there one more after that, Travis?
No, that's the last one.
That's the last one. Okay. It is the last one, the ultimate one. So, and then we get to
The ultimate.
we get
It's the
the ultimate
one.
one. Questions will be answered, races will be run, and then we get to World Indoors.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Again, yeah, this weekend, lots of live track and road. You obviously got Tokyo, got Paris. Bring you track and field from all over the world.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. What else do we got here? Okay. Listen, I don't want to be difficult, but you introduce this segment. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, it'd be difficult. No, introduce it. What's wrong?
Okay, so there's a combine in the in the United States for those who are listening abroad. The football players, they run these fast times and they lift and they do the shuttle run, they do this stuff. And the 40 is the one that gets the most attention because there's a time attached to it. So there was a wide receiver from Baylor, Tyquan Thornton, who ran a time that was very fast. It got people's attention, 4:21. However, it was corrected later on in the day to be a 4:28. If it was 4:21, it would have been the record at the combine. 28
It's a
is
big
still
correction.
fast.
That's a big
Yes. So here's
correction.
my right.
Oh God, I thought it was 421. It's
So
corrected to
here's
428.
yep. So here's obviously he's fast and he ran fast in high school. I don't think he ran his senior. He was really good in the quarter too. Not taking anything away from him. He's great. But 4:28, yeah, just puts him in this big group of people. So once they corrected it, my big takeaway was not his run and how fast it was, but just seeing the reaction of football fans on Twitter when a time got corrected reminded me of track fans. They were just so upset. They're like, "Wait, how do you make that big of a switch? How does he go from 4:21 to 4:28?" And then there were other runners too, or other athletes whose times got rounded way up, and people were just getting upset. They were taking screenshots of him crossing the line and it saying 4:18, and they're like, "Well, look, I paused my computer at 4:18. Why isn't it a 4:18?" And people having to explain that's not actually how it works. So that part of it was entertaining for me. But running a 4:28, yeah, it's fast, but there's been a lot of people have run that.
Yeah, I put out I try to, yeah, look at this. Whoever Owens Burner, the NFL robbed Calvin Austin III, the greatest 40 time in NFL history.
4:03.
First of all, they're going based off when his foot crosses the line, not even when his shoulder crosses the line. Because like when his chest, look at that, like even this, and it obviously
Yeah.
says unofficial times, but
Well,
it's just funny
pausing
that
your
they're even
computer is the
screenshotting.
ultimate unofficial time.
But they're also pausing it before his chest crosses the 40-yard line. Like they're pausing
Yeah.
it when his foot crosses, so they don't even know how that works. No.
I think back to Coleman. He did the running in football world a service when senior year or last year at Tennessee, he runs the 4:12 in a football time 40 just to get perspective of how quickly a elite track athlete could run this using the timing system that they do in the NFL. So 4:1, for people who don't know, I mean a 4:12 to a 4:21, which is the NFL mark. I mean, that's a tenth clear. A tenth and a 40 is an eternity. Because you see, Grant Holloway winning these races by tenths of a second, and it's just no contest. And that gives you a better idea. And this was, I mean, Coleman was obviously fast then. I would say he got even faster after that point in his career. But mostly the pausing of the screenshots is what was entertaining to me.
Yeah, I thought it's also. I was like, ooh, Baylor athlete runs 4:21 in a 40. Let's get him running a 60 against Trayvon. Trayvon's been tweeting at Tyreek Hill, trying to challenge him to a 4x1. So maybe we
Yeah.
get a Baylor on Baylor crime and see if. I mean, obviously
No.
Trayvon would smoke him. It wouldn't even be
Yeah.
close.
4:28.
But
No. Yeah.
it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch
F,
someone get smoked.
even 4:21, he would have had problems. 4:28. Yeah, it's not even a. I mean, once he gets into his running, runs pretty smooth. But so you didn't know when we started the segment, you thought it was a 4:21 still? You didn't see the update?
Yeah, I didn't know about the correction. That just shows how fake news just circulates this world. Is I was still thinking there was a 421 football
Yeah.
player out in this world. You kind of just
Yeah.
broke my whole worldview of reality.
Well, and that's why I said I don't want to be difficult. That's why I started with I don't want to be difficult. Because if he did run 4:21, all right, cool. Let's go with that. But once it got corrected to 4:28, again, not taking anything away from him, he's very fast. He's a very, very, very fast athlete. And you look at those track times. It is interesting to see how many people ran the quarter in high school. A lot of these elite sprint guys, like their coach I guess the coach just throws them in everything. But there was another recruit I was looking up because someone asked, they were going to Oregon, said, "Oh, this is how elite is this guy?" And he was better in the quarter than he was in the 100. And you'd think, oh, football, they're going to throw those guys in the 1 and the 2, and it's going to be a tough sell getting them in the quarter. But a lot of them have really put down impressive 400-meter time. So yeah, very great runner.
Yeah.
Um,
He ran He won the state meet at Florida in 2017 and
Yeah.
ran 46.7 as a PR in the 400. So makes sense. And you saw on the screen while you were talking, uh, one Baylor 400-meter hurdler was like, "I try to get this kid to do track 4 years, can never make it happen." You know, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's I guess it's a lot more enticing for these kids to have a jersey on with football in their hand with millions of people watching them than to sometimes run in a track meet in heat 12 of the men's 200 in like the middle of a Saturday afternoon that no one is at and everyone is underneath the bleachers trying to get away from the sun. That's like a track meet for you.
Well, when you
It's not
sell
the
it like
same as
that,
Friday Night Lights, you know.
you painted an extremely
So
compelling picture of track and field. I don't know why anybody would choose another sport. That was just an incredible public service announcement from Gordon Mack.
I love track. For
Um,
the record, I love track. I love track.
I love
Big
track,
fan.
and if you stayed with track, it looks like he could have been really good. How good we don't know, and that's the point. People try to make shoe-ins out of all these people, and they say, "Well, man, if he had just stayed, he would have progressed like this." But it's like you pay attention to enough elite track runners, some of them peak early. It doesn't work. And for every awesome person that you beat, I thought about this when you look at the Tyreek Hill situation. It's like, oh yeah, he beat Bromell and he's running with the grass and all this stuff. There's also people he lost to during that time who didn't develop into a superstar as well too. So it's not guaranteed. And this guy, didn't get to the level where Hill was at, obviously. But taking nothing away from him, I just appreciated the time correction going up from 21 to 28 because in track is better than that. We've seen some rounding up or rounding down, but usually what is it? 0.02, 0.01, and it sucks because you want to know the time immediately and you want the reaction. Um, but 0.07, it's been a while since I've seen 0.07 on the track.
It must be fun to like. You just mentioned like people don't think about the people that Tyreek Hill lost to, or just in general. When you think of people who have wins over notable athletes, can just like sit at home on a couch. They're watching, the Super Bowl, and they're seeing like Tyreek Hill run away for a touchdown, and you're like, yeah, just so you know, when I was in high school, I smoked that kid. I was faster than him.
Yeah,
That could have been, it's kind of cool to have like everyone who has a win over Usain Bolt throughout his entire career. That's probably like the coolest fun fact that you could ever have about yourself. I beat
yeah,
Usain Bolt in a race. Like how many people have actually, I mean, going back all the way to when he was like, 18, 19, there's probably a bunch
yeah,
of people who have wins over him that are like, nobody really knows who they are.
yeah.
And
Well, he had
they
that
can
one
sit at
Olympics.
home.
Yeah,
But
I was thinking going back even further to 8 and 9 years old. Like if I got a win over Bolt when I was 9, I would still count it. That would be
oh, yeah.
amazing. It wouldn't even need to be 18. Yeah, then you're getting into very very rarefied air. You have to basically have qualified for the Olympics. This made me think of something. Do you remember when? This is a fun exercise. Do you remember when Lyles ran that 200 during the pandemic and the timing was screwed up and his time got posted in the 200 1890?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and for a moment there on Twitter, everyone's brains broke because some people actually believed it. So whereas I never did, right? I looked, it's like, okay, something's wrong with that. And part of that was because I mean, most of it is you saw the race, like that wasn't faster than the world record by 0.3 of a second, but also because it was a weird race during the midst of the pandemic. But what my question to you is in the 40, what is the Lyles number? Meaning, what is the time that could pop up where the majority of people would be like, okay, there's an issue with the timing.
I mean, 399.
Okay. But don't you think, I know track people would be like, yeah, that ain't happening. But don't you think some football people would be like, yeah, man, he's
Yeah. Oh,
special.
football people would believe it. Yeah. Football people would
Yeah.
believe 399. I guess some track people did believe the 1891.
Lincoln
But
did.
yeah, Lincoln believed it.
Well, I remember, I could be remembering this wrong. He didn't believe it, but he was just like, oh my God, what just happened? I said, hold on a second, man. He didn't run 1891. It's just not happening. So you
It's
think
kind of funny looking.
399?
I think 399 would break people's brains.
Okay. What
It's
up?
kind of
So a
funny that
four
they
flat.
called this track. Just a side note, they called this track meet the Inspiration Games. It's kind of crazy. Back in 2020 was a wild time. Calling
Dude,
track
do you
meets
remember
Inspiration Games. Who are we
there was a
inspiring? We're come on.
there was the garden clashes? Do you remember they raced remotely? Remember that meet where
Oh
people
yeah,
were racing remotely? Allison Felix in Mount Sac raced. It might have been
it
this
might have been
meet,
this
and
meet.
then
Yeah,
she raced against Shawnee Miller Weibo in Florida. They raced against each other remotely, and there was the Swiss athletes were competing in Switzerland. Yeah, you're right. There were some things in 2020 that are gonna be tough to explain in the
weird,
future.
wild times.
Yeah. Schedule note. Excuse me. U.S. champs 10K and multis. They picked some dates for that. Gordon, we knew it wasn't going to be during the U.S. champs because the quick turnaround between U.S. champs and worlds, they want to give people time to recover. So the dates and locations are as follows. Write this down. The 10,000 is going to be in Eugene, May 27th. That's pre-classic weekend. And then the multis are going to be in Fayetteville, May 6th through 7th.
Okay,
Your thoughts?
thoughts on hell of a photo. Got some great uh, leg, hamstring, thigh
Foot strike.
shots. Looks like people are missing one of their legs, right? Doesn't that look like that one guy's missing his leg in the back? Zoom in on that photo, Colt. You see that right? Yeah, the third stub up from the left. The guy's missing a leg. Doesn't it look like it? Anyway,
Keep going.
this is the things. These are the things you talk about on the podcast. The main thing that I take from this, obviously, it's gonna be cool to have a 10K trials right before Prefontaine. You know, it has like that Friday night 10K vibe,
Yeah.
which would be great. But it does suck for college kids. College kids can't compete now in the 10K because that's the same weekend as prelims.
Mhm.
And now I get it. I mean, how many college kids can make a 10K world team in the US? Probably none. You know,
Yeah.
maybe one or two could probably finish in the top 8. But so are we going to move around USATF's calendar for the sake of 2 college kids finishing the top 8 at USA's? Probably
Yeah.
not. You're probably not going to cater to those 2 people. You're like, all right, it sucks, but that is what it is. Go win NCAAs.
Yeah.
Um, but it would have been cool to see, you know, some younger kids in the race because it kind of mixes it up. You got like the wild card factor. It's like, oh, what will happen if like it's slow and there's what, what would happen? You know, it's
Yeah.
always like, what would happen? But I'm okay with the dates. It just sucks that we have to do it this way. I mean,
Mhm.
why? Like, I get it. They don't want to be so close to worlds. The turnaround is hard. The doubling is hard. But like, maybe that's a sign that we're doing something wrong. Maybe that's a sign we're doing something wrong. Maybe we need to figure something out. That the fact that we need to move the 10K and the multi events to a different date because the athletic ability of doing these events is not capable within a certain time frame of the actual world championships. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? This doesn't make any sense.
Is
Is this track and field or
is
not? Are we going to actually have a track meet on a date or not? Why do we have to like do these weird things, these jump through hoops to like make it? It's just, anyway,
yeah.
I'm getting all
Um
riled up. It's not like it's a
it's
marathon, right? It's not a
yes, you're
the
just
marathon. I understand. It's 25 laps. Come on.
yeah. It's complicated because you say what's the priority? Okay, it's to pick the best team in the most fair way, which for the US is running a race, and you pick that team and then you send them off to worlds to win gold medals. It's not to make sure that the eighth best person is able to go. That's probably their thinking with
But
this is
okay.
it's a trade-off, and it's a trade-off given the schedule this year. And for them, they'd rather not have collegians in than risk the turnaround time or the recovery for Fisher and Bohr
But
and
okay.
whoever.
The turnaround time and recovery time for Fisher. Are you saying Fisher and he's never run 6 miles and then 2 weeks, or was it 2 weeks? How long is the difference between USA's and Worlds?
Yeah, it's 2.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Shane Grant Fisher isn't capable of running 6 miles and then 2 weeks later running, wait for it, another 6 miles.
Yeah. Gordon, he's never run 6 miles before. I don't know if you knew this about Fisher's training. Literally, no.
He
Yeah, I
just
don't.
never does it. It's like
The
I mean, we overthink the like the effort that the amount of strain on your body that a USA Championship 10K puts on your body is you're not going to feel that at World Championships 2 weeks later if you're an elite athlete trying to medal. Like you're going to do workouts that are harder. Like literally, I guarantee you, there's going to be someone who makes this 10K team
Yeah.
on May 27th. I bet you, if they decide not to do the 5K or whatever, the weekend that they would have had the 10K at USA's, they will probably do a workout that is harder than the 10K win or top 3 finish that they had in May 27th. Like, we act like these athletes aren't doing hard things when the track meets aren't happening. They're doing sometimes even harder things. And we just for some reason, we just put this weird mystique over track meets, over racing, and no weird mystique over workouts. He's
Mhm.
like Jerry Schumacher will be like, we can't race that much. We got to be sharp if we can't be over raced. But you also, but you're replacing. You're not. These kids aren't these pros aren't replacing the races with sitting on a couch and recovering.
Yeah.
They're replacing the races with workouts that are just equal, if not harder, than the race itself. And I just don't understand why. It has nothing to do with rest and recovery and for the human body. It has everything to do with this weird mental gymnastics of uh, over raced. Maybe I'm a bad coach. I probably am a bad coach. And if I was coaching a pro athlete, maybe I would be a Tom
Yeah.
Thibodeau and run them into the ground. But I just think we
Mhm.
overthink. We just overcomplicate track and field. It's running, man. It's 25 laps. They're not going to be running 25 laps at a blistering 4-minute mile pace. Like they're going to chill for the first 12 laps because they're like, all right, I want to turn this into a 5K. Like their warm up is going to
So
be, yeah,
there used to be a time when there was heats in the 10K too. So you
yeah.
could look
There's
at
no
this as
heats.
this is the first heat. I think though it's compounded because US champs isn't like trials, and then a lot of people are going to double, so then it goes like 10K, 5K in short succession. But yeah, this if this was the 400, they wouldn't do it because they know that
Yeah.
they're going to get collegians who are vying for spots in the quarter or even the 800. Can you imagine last year if they did this with the thing, Mo? Yeah, sorry. 800-meter Olympic trials are going to take place the same day as nationals qualifying for you. So make your decision quickly. I think they made it knowing that they'll still be able to send the 3 best people by moving it up. And it would have been a different consideration if it was a different event. But yeah, the fear of too much. There certainly is too much. I don't know if this is it, and it's going to be at a certain point only 3 people are making the team. Right? So
Yeah.
only 3 people are going to have to do that turnaround. 3 or 6 people, 3 men, 3 women, and then multis 3 more. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 12 people. So it's only too much of a workload for that group. Now, those are theoretically the most important people because those are the people that USATF wants to go on and get medals. But you're right; those people are probably the more likely to handle it the best as well too. Um, I just think it's interesting. I am curious to see how it goes. I'm curious to see how it impacts the 5K because now there's no worry about doubling there. I wonder if it ups the quality of the 5K when we come time for US champs. It is different. The multis are in a
Well,
tough spot too. Because I looked up the conference schedule. I don't know if they moved the date because I thought initially it was right on top of conference, but I looked at like the ACC championships or the next weekend. But then that's tough then, because then you're gonna do a whole multi competition and then a few days later do another one for your conference meet.
Yeah, well, a lot of times multi athletes don't do it at conferences. They do it just to get the qualifier, and then they don't
Yeah,
compete at
they
conferences
do other
for.
events. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, well, just and also it's like kind of weird too. Like, I'm not against people doubling the 10K and 5K, but I feel like a lot of times USA might have a better shot at having like what's first at Worlds, 10K or 5K? You know the
I
schedule
don't
yet?
have
Do you
it.
have the schedule?
I,
You don't have the
let me
schedule,
hold on.
Kevin?
I don't
You
I
need
don't
to
have it
start book.
memorized.
You
Hold
need to
on.
bookmark this schedule. Come on.
Okay, hold on.
What's
I'm
first?
bookmarking it right now. Okay, so for the day 2, so July 16th is the women's final in the
Okay, so
10K.
10K is first for the women, 10K is
And
first,
then,
5K is first for the men.
well, this is weird actually.
Let's just assume the 10K is first. Okay, I have a feeling that what let's assume you have 3 women qualify in both the 10K and the 5K, and they do that because they were able to
10K
run
is
the
first for both.
10K. Okay, okay, let's say 3 men were able to run. It's going to be a lot easier for a 10K, 5K athlete to qualify in both meets because there's going to be no like they're not going to be go up against anyone fresh
Yeah.
because
Yeah, yeah.
all the 10K runners are now going to be fresh for the 5K trials at USA's. So because of
Yeah.
that, we might have a situation where we'll have the same 3 people representing the 10 and the 5.
Yeah.
If I were like a GM, if I was Sam Hinkie, if I was Daryl Morey of USA Track and Field, and I had actually, there's no trials. I'm just like, if I had to pick my athletes to try to win the most medals, I would purposely not pick any 10K, 5K doublers because I would think, hey, I would rather have a fresh 5K runner than one of the better a fresh 5K runner who's maybe a little bit worse than a better 5K runner who's coming off of a 10K,
I mean, it depends on the
right?
athlete. Depends on who it
Depends on the
is.
athlete. Yeah, some athletes can handle it, obviously. Some athletes can
And
handle
who's
it,
the
but not all of
replacement
them.
person? No, not all, but it depends on
Okay,
the replacement person too. If you're taking out, if you're saying Fisher, you only get to do one. This other person's gonna have a better opportunity than you. You got to know who that other person is. You can't just make that decision in the
okay.
abstract. You
Would
got
you
to know
rather
who you're actually
have?
replacing with.
Okay, here's a good example. Would you rather have the 5K team be Fisher coming off of a 10K, Kincaid coming off of a 10K, and Chalimo fresh? Would you rather
Hmm.
that be your team, or would you rather that team be Chalimo fresh, Cooper Tier fresh, and Fisher coming off of a 10K? Would you rather have a
She just
fresh Cooper
basically,
Tier or Woody Kincaid coming off of a 10K?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's an actual choice. But like, why are we convinced that Cooper Tier wouldn't just beat Woody Kincaid at trials then?
I think it's gonna be harder for Cooper Tier to beat
Tier.
Woody Kincaid because Woody
Well,
Kincaid's now gonna be fresh at the 5K trials.
yeah, he's got to beat
But I
him.
think Woody Kincaid coming off of a 10K at Worlds is not as good
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
fresh Woody Kincaid. You know,
These are the questions that are going to be answered this year, and we're going to figure it out. But I would say you got to even beat him when he's fresh. Like, that's what this is about. You're fresh. You got to beat him when he's fresh. Will it be different at Worlds? Yeah. But then,
yeah, but you're
yeah,
beating
there's certain
you're not beating what they're going to be doing at Worlds because Kincaid at the
But back to
USA
your earlier
5K is
point,
different than Kincaid at the World's 5K because Kincaid at the World's 5K is coming off a 10K. Kincaid's at the USA 5K is fresh.
but back to your
Just
other
try to
point about people can recover a lot quicker than we think.
true.
He runs the 10K on day 3, and then he doesn't have heats in the 5 until day 7. So he's got 3 full days off, and then he runs
Yeah,
heats,
yeah, yeah.
and then he's got another day off or 2 days off until the final. So, but that undercuts the point of the whole beginning of this conversation, which is how much recovery time do 5 and 10,000 people need? Because if they don't need that much, then why are we switching the whole
Yeah.
meet around. I do like for the 10,000 meter runners. I do like that it's the night before pre because then you're giving them a stage and they're
Yeah.
gonna have
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a good crowd behind them. Whereas if it was just a
For sure.
random track in the United States on a random Saturday or Sunday in May, would not be the same, and then they wouldn't get that same experience. This they'll at least get to be put in that high pressure situation again.
I will
Anyway,
say, I do think Mike Smith should find a way to petition the NCAA to let Abdi Hamid Nur run the 10K at Prefontaine and say, hey, if he runs sub whatever time, then he gets a
yeah.
spot in the final. Because you can add a
Who
25th person to the NCAA 10K final.
who's gonna be brave enough to do both is my question. Who's gonna get on that helicopter and go straight from or go back and forth between the two? That's the question.
Yeah.
Where are regionals this year?
Regionals are West is in Fayetteville, East
Hmm.
is in Bloomington, Indiana. So it's going to be probably hard.
Yeah. Well, I found out this past week you can on a private jet you can go 3 hours Fayetteville to Eugene. I learned that this week. So people want to
Well,
get
and I
back and
think the
forth.
10
There you go.
they
Is it
changed
10K
it to
that
a
night?
four. They changed it to a 4-day meet,
Mm.
and I believe the 10K. Actually, hold on. Let's look this up. NCAA track and field championships outdoor.
Gordon's Googling,
Uh,
folks.
what is the schedule? Oh, I want prelim. I'm almost there. Prelims.
He's getting closer.
I'm getting closer.
Hey,
God dang it.
I feel like Colt should make his picks too. Going back to the beginning of the show, why are we just not letting the producer get in on the action here?
Well,
Okay.
if my cross country picks are anything to go off of,
We're
I'm
just
just gonna
gonna
pick
pick
the
Big
Big
12
12.
people?
Yeah. Just pick the Big 12
What if
every
I told
time.
you? What if I told you Kipchoge went to KU? Would that change anything?
Oh, definitely would lower the stock of Kipchoge in my mind, but
Yeah, they changed it. They named it after him. It's Kipchoge. Kipchoge U.
I,
All right, what do you got
I
going?
found it. So Wednesday, May 25th is the men's NCAA prelim for the 10K. And then
There you go.
Friday,
Do
May
both.
27th is the Prefontaine 10K. So, yeah, you could just do 10K
When's the
Wednesday,
5?
fly out. The 5 is that Friday.
So same day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the same day. You won't be able to do that. So you'd have to scratch the 5. But if you're a woman, you could do the 10K on May 26th, Thursday,
Yeah.
fly out at midnight to Prefontaine, run the 10K at pre, then
Hmm.
fly out that night back to where you were, and then on Saturday run a 5K.
If Sarah Hall
So
was
women
still in
could do,
college, that would
yeah,
probably
Sarah Hall
be
will be
the
doing
plan.
it.
And also, this is a time in my life when I'm really sad Connor Mance went pro because I think Connor Mance would have
Yeah,
tried it on the men's side, the 210s. I don't want to run the
yeah,
5 anyway. Let's just do these 210s. Let's just see
yeah.
what I can
Two
do.
times. Imagine
Great
if he
show
made
today.
it. He would make a mockery of like, why do we need to do this anyway? Because we can't. It's not. We're not capable of running 10Ks 2 weeks
Yeah.
before Worlds. But I'm running 2 10Ks in 2 days, and then another 10K at NCAAs, and I'm going to win.
Oh, here's the other thing I'm wondering. Standard chasing, is that right? Because the standards window would stay open, correct?
I wonder that. I bet you they're probably going to say we will
It
not
closes.
accept. It closes on that day.
Gotcha.
If I had
So
to
they'll know
guess.
the team. They'll know the team that day. You're not because that'd be
But
tough. Then you're just flying
what
all around
about
the
world
world trying to get
rankings
into that.
though? Like your world ranking could change.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun for me to figure out.
Well, you have a whole
Involved
month
in.
to figure it out,
Yes,
or
give me a month to
two
figure it
two
out.
weeks to figure it out this time. Yeah, there can't be too many 10Ks between now and then. Although we've seen them before, just do these pop-up things to try to get people standards. All right, great episode. Thanks to Colt. Thanks to Travis. Thanks to our sponsor, Hoka. As Gordon mentioned, do that pick'em. Do that FloTrack pick'em on the site. And we'll be back Saturday evening, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Sunday in Tokyo for our Tokyo Marathon watch party, Kipchoge, Koskai, Hall, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be exciting. We'll talk to you guys then.